Time to do some sketchy shit. Doo-dah, doo-dah. Hope I get away with it. Oh, the doo-dah day.
Good evening, folks. I'm Dan Hollifield. Welcome to Last Man Standing. We just got through with another stupid o'clock. It was rather subdued because everybody's getting ready for Hallowcon, which is the main reason for the existence of stupid o'clock. But now that the plague is no longer such a big deal. Everybody's getting ready for the con. Everybody is tired. Everybody is kind of fed up with packing stuff, going to the hotel, and unpacking stuff as far as the local con staff is concerned. I've got to unload my van and load it back up with all of the stuff for our vendors table, and try not to forget anything vital. And that's going to be a real well, I don't want to say it's going to be a pain in the butt, but it's going to be, there's so much stuff, and I'm going to have to play the usual interstate driver Tetris packing in a van, which I'm actually fairly decent at. I can fit more things inside the van than it would appear at first glance. But we shall see. I've still got carpentry and plumbing to do before we can leave. But if one of those jobs is not finished before it's time for us to leave, then it'll just have to wait till we get back. So be it. Life may interrupt, but the con goes on. And with me tonight is Richie to try and keep this from being a 5-minute show where I play the beginning credits, the opening credits, and the closing credits, and go, I ain't being here by myself. Uh,
Rich, where? That guy owes me money.
yeah, well, he's rich, so good luck collecting. He's probably got lawyers.
No, lawyers have me. But apparently, according to Alec, that is now my catchphrase. Someone shouts my name, and I'm supposed to say, "Where that guy owes me money."
Excuse me a second. Kitty sent me a story today, as did you, working on her author bio. Good. It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to say anything that you don't want the public to know. You can tell me to exclude your email if you don't want people to know that. Several writers have done that over the years. Some it's a regular practice. They just want to keep their personal information away from prying eyes as much as possible.
In that regard, you get a private email address for your private stuff, and then you get a professional email address for your professional stuff.
Yep.
And in today's world, with so many different free email sites out there, Gmail, Ymail, Hotmail.
Yeah.
Well, that Hotmail's technically Outlook.com now, but you know what I mean. Yahoo. Yeah, there's no excuse not to be able to provide a professional email address. And if you do this, you should also have a professional sounding email address. I like big butts at gmail.com is not what you submit things with.
My wife has become quite fond of DuckDuckGo, and I'm going, that's going to look real funny in somebody's inbox. Oh, but it's one of the more, well, reasonably privacy protecting browsers. Let me get another beer.
That's their little spiel there too, is to be more secure and be able to keep the prying eyes away from your private stuff.
Yeah. And
more power to them. I mean, that's exactly what we need in the world is more companies that are really doing that.
Yeah, really. I'm all about protecting my privates. And those two lieutenants as well.
I was going to say, with your college film repertoire, wouldn't that be more of your publics?
Actually, I've been online so long. I think that if I went to one of those take me off of everybody's mailing list sites, they would just basically declare bankruptcy rather than deal with me. When you've been online almost as long as there has been an online, your address is.
I'm trying to behave, Dan. You're not making it easy.
Oh, can't believe you're actually going to publish it. Kitty, there is a support group that you might want to join. It's Richie and Joe Bachman and Foxy and Thesis and several other people that have sent me stuff that was absolutely fantastic. And they're going, You mean I made the cut? And I'm going, well, yeah, I had to add a comma. Um, hey, I have to edit stuff a little bit. Um, but most of the time I leave stuff alone, and that way, if a reader has a problem with it, then they can go in the forums and say, "Hey, did you really mean to say that, or did you mean to say this?" And that way, you get reader feedback and lets you know if you need to improve in one area or another, or um, do more uh, proofreading or whatever. Uh, had had to get a little bit of help with the one fight scene. Could see it in your head, but putting it into words was difficult. Yes, I understand that completely. Um, I'm actually going to have uh, one of my Tom Darby stories from the hopefully upcoming book in this next issue, and it actually starts with a fight scene. It doesn't mean this is the way I think everybody should write fight scenes. It means this is the way I wrote that particular one. Oh, and Thesis is going to brave the hostile internet and join us tonight.
We're gonna
Richie, you
try.
may want to move your camera over because we can see your ear, and that's about it. Uh,
Better?
yeah. Nice to see your bright and shiny face.
We're gonna try. See if it behaves.
Hi. Maybe the wind died down, or the sunspots went away, or whatever. Or don't talk about Chinese witches, and maybe you can stay unconnected.
Let's not go there.
No, it was a very, very interesting topic,
Yeah.
and you covered it well despite all the internet glitches that stalled you out.
Thank you. I tried.
Well, if there was anything I would critique on that is probably, and I don't even know if it would help, is to do a local recording with StreamYard and re-upload it later, hopefully without all the glitches.
Yeah.
I don't know that would work.
I have no idea.
And Kitty was
Sounds
just
very.
saying that she had to get you to help her with the one fight scene, but
Yeah,
hey,
it was. I mean, it was the way she was describing it. I could see what she was trying to get across, so that made it easier.
well, when I got the email,
Mm-hmm.
I gave it a really quick scan, basically. Not an in-depth read, just
Yeah.
oh yeah. Ooh, just
Mm-hmm.
kind of scroll through and look it over, and I didn't see any problems. Um, I've got right now. Well, I've actually still got that folder open, so right now I've got 10 things, and including one of mine, which I can drop if I have to.
Yeah.
Got Richie's story, which I love.
Oh, you've had a chance to read it?
Like I said, I gave it a quick scan while I was looking at after I got the email. I had to do a little bit of work with Joe Bachman's because he had a brilliant idea that unfortunately modern readers would not get.
Mm.
Back in the day, people would see that section and go, I know there's something there. So I went and reformatted the end of it. I didn't change anything. I did not make any corrections to the ending text. I simply reformatted the font color and the background color so that it looked old school. And he said, when I told him about it, that sounds perfect. But if you are trying to have an impact and you're doing something experimental, it pays to have it in a format that people who have not been online forever will not become impatient with.
He used flash codes, didn't he?
Nope. Nope, not saying.
I'm goofing because of the 30 seconds after the internet was invented, flash codes were invented, and everybody wanted to have flash codes on their freaking websites. And it's like, really?
Actually, I'm grateful that frames fell out of fashion really quickly. That stuff is hideous. And I understand the actual working concept behind it and why people thought it was necessary. But it's really a
Well, when they
pain in
first
the
came out,
butt.
they were necessary, but someone figured out a much better way to do it like 10 minutes later.
Yeah. And then it took 5 years for it to fall out of fashion. The the world of HTML coding is many and varied. And now I don't understand CSS, which I'm glad that I don't have to deal with coding any of it, but it's kind of background stuff. So I can just refer to what people who know more have already established and just kind of, hey, read this file, then read this file, then read the HTML, and then read these files. And all I got to do is fill in the HTML. And I see the wind has not died down in Utah. Thesis will be back with us momentarily. And the man has just about as much patience as I do. I mean, seriously, to have been frozen so many times in his own show when he's trying to have a serious talk on a serious topic and just go, well, can't fix it. Might as well dance. It was impressive, Thesis. There are many of us that would have lost our tempers, within the first 5 minutes of trying to do something like that, and you kept being patient. You kept being you had your zen on.
I really did. Now, what you didn't see is the colorful words that I screamed at the internet while I was frozen, but you didn't see it, so it didn't happen.
Well, that's a good reason not to use StreamYard local recording.
Yeah.
You'd have to just wait those out. Uh,
Well, the beautiful part is if you did use local recording and he did use that colorful language, since it's local and not uploaded yet, he can edit that and fix that.
I have done that more than a few times with the journal making streams and the calligraphy streams. Sometimes there will be slight edits where I'll have to cut out a word or two that shouldn't be on YouTube.
mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, haven't shown anybody the new toy that I have been waiting for a chance to use, but nothing is really gelling outside. But
Ooh. Yeah.
Oh, nice. A little old school.
Yeah, it looks like it will be. And it even has a tripod mount. And I think I can use one of the tripods I've already got. This one has not only the threaded socket for the tripod, but it has the little indentation for the stabilizer peg on a lot of camera tripods. Yeah.
Flashback. There was panning and zooming before panning and zooming, where it's an automatic feature. Sorry.
Hey, we all deal with trauma in our own way.
And y'all like to bring that shit back up to me, too. You bastards.
Well, of course we
That's
do.
how I know you're true friends.
Exactly. That's how you know that we actually care, is because we exploit your trauma for our own entertainment.
You keep bringing it up and pushing the buttons and pressing on the wound to basically say, it doesn't hurt anymore, right? It doesn't hurt anymore, right?
Well, I don't want to say it's your own fault, but you tell the story very well. And if you haven't heard,
my own fault, that is my sister's fault.
If you haven't heard Richie tell this story, don't ask. You're probably not prepared for the reality of the situation.
Catch me live and ply me with alcohol. I'll tell the story.
Either that or ask him about it in the green room. It's not something you really want recorded anymore.
or ship me the liquor and I will get drunk and I will do it on a stream.
Oh. Well, I had to go to the recycle center to get rid of a bunch of cardboard and plastic and glass bottles and things like that. My wife brought me back this bottle, an empty bottle of, it's a spiced vodka called Krupnik, which I am quite fond of. But these were mail ordered to me by a good friend who is doing stuff I do not understand and probably do not have a security clearance to know about. So he's kind of dropped off the face of the planet over the last few years, which is kind of sad because he wrote some of the best Marinebrium stories. And if I get a chance to do a collection of other people's Marinebrium stories and not mine, it would be an absolute sin not to include a few of his. Now, I can't do that if I can't get a contract to him and establish a way for him to get paid if people buy the book. My moral compass does not spin in that direction. He'd have to, he has to be paid, just like everybody else that contributes. There's a guy in Norway, I do believe. I wish I could get in touch with because he wrote some fantastic stuff. But he's another long ago internet contributor to Aphelion that has just vanished into the ether. I hope he's all right.
Yeah.
He established a whole lot of things about behind the scenes of the bar that fit in really well. And actually, in one of the sidebars, basically, it's upstairs of the main bar. It's a hangout for deities, writers, and other creative types that pretty much can warp reality just by writing stuff down. And hello, Foxy. And he actually was one of the first people to use the Pantheon room as a setting for a story, and did such a good job that other people decided to put stuff in there too. Well, I had decided that the main bartender for the gods, all of them, any pantheon you can think of, had to be Elvis Presley.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Okay.
And this guy did not know how to write in an Elvis Presley voice. So he emailed me what he wanted the guy to say, and I emailed him back my best guess as to how Elvis would have said it. And being Southern, I do believe I nailed it pretty well.
Oh, God. That hurts.
Oh?
Sorry, with Elvis as a bartender, I just had a mental image of his signature drink that he makes being a peanut butter and banana sandwich.
Actually, no. Actually, no. It was something a bit more complicated, and it had, those fancy drinks with all the different colored layers to it?
Yeah.
It was two of those. One was called the Old Testament, and one was called the New Testament. And you had to drink them in the correct order. The Old Testament was full of fire and brimstone and all kinds of spices, and the New Testament was kind of uplifting and promising and less dramatic, but eventually fulfilling. Now, I he didn't know anything about the fanfic that the people in Thesis's area wrote, so couldn't include that. But hello, Daniel. Hello, Grant. Um, 3 ladies men on the show tonight. Yeah, well, we all have our own ladies, and that's it. Not this ain't the Playboy After Dark here.
I see. Dan, he says to me, "Where's the third ladies, man?"
Grant, we're gonna have to have Dawn just pack you up in one of her suitcases and bring you to Hallowcon, and we'll teach you a lesson you'll never forget. Like,
Actually, I'm probably the closest one to him by a couple of hours.
oh, believe me. Yep. I believe you'd have a good time. Not the green room. Oh, yeah. Back to the story. Yep. He needed dialogue that was the correct accent for Elvis, and I wrote that out for him, and he used almost all of it verbatim. Thankfully, it was only just a few paragraphs, so it wasn't like I was taking over the story. Yeah, that's if I could get in touch with him, I'd be glad to include both of his major Marineverium stories in a collection, along with so many other people. It would be a huge book. It really would, and that would be so great. And not it would illustrate that I'm not the only one that writes in that damn universe.
Yeah.
It's Richie. It's kind of like the writer's prompts, but it has a larger scale. And pre-existing bar staff that are and should be background characters.
I've played in a few shared sandboxes.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, especially if the rules are loose enough to where you can have fun and you can tell a good story and really to be included it doesn't have to be anything other than sort of like a D&D party meeting at a tavern. In this case, it's a spaceport bar, and then they go off and do what they're going to do, and maybe come back at the end or maybe not. Doesn't really matter. It's not that important. It's just um, sharing the universe, the structure and the background and all the mythology that's built up around the Spaceport Bar over the years. And believe me, the Marinebrium predates Aphelion.
Damn.
I had two Marinebrium stories published by another easing publisher before I ever had to come up with Aphelion at all. And that same guy was the one that turned it into a shared universe because he wanted to write a story in the Marinebrium and did. And I go, well, I guess it's a shared universe now. It's not all me. So, and things kind of snowballed from there. And it's been building and building and building ever since. Oh, Grant, my sweet summer child. If only it was that simple.
I'm gonna say it doesn't sound like that's the truth from some of the stories I've heard, but
There are things that happen at Hallowcon that
Get broadcasted all over the internet.
well, that and I hear they got some medicine for that now. Oh no, I'm telling jokes that are only about 30% accurate, but
If you're dealing with things that happen at Hallowcon 4 hours later, you might want to seek medical attention.
if you can get out of your chair. Oh. Yes, well, if people are planning to come to Hallowcon, I would say try and show up on Thursday. Check out on Monday if your schedule can permit. Now, my hotel bill for that entire check in Thursday afternoon, check out Monday morning is, let's see here. $360 plus taxes.
Yeah, I read about that. Is what they quoted me for because I'm doing the same.
Yeah. So that's Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday night. And $60 of that is the taxes. So, a lot of places, a lot of big conventions you go to, you're going to pay that in parking.
A lot of places you go to for conventions, you're going to pay that per night.
Mm-hmm. And it's not going to include all your meals that you don't go out to a restaurant to because you just want to go out to a restaurant. Somebody's having fun.
she's watching hockey back there.
Oh, okay. Oh, Kitty. I know Thesis was worried about taking over my story, but just helped me find the fight scene into in my head into words of people. Yes, I understood it. I
It
haven't
was.
read it. I haven't read it as an editor yet,
Mm,
but I read it very quickly as a reader, and looked fine to me.
it was definitely a concern that I didn't want to make the fight go the way I wanted it to go. So I tried to like, this is what she wants to portray. This is what we're going to describe. Don't worry about what you think should happen.
Mm-hmm.
Do it the way she wants to do it.
You and I did that with one of your stories. I said, I would have written it this way.
That was the first one. That was Darker Angels, and yeah,
and I'm going, but it's not mine. I didn't write it. Just because I would have done it differently doesn't mean that you have to.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a perfectly fine story without my interference.
And now it's like 10 chapters long and almost a. I mean, it's already a story on its own to begin with, but it was just originally going to be a short story, and now it's like, no, I want it to be longer now because people want it.
Mm-hmm. The reader's demand.
No, Dan and I don't understand that at all.
You really?
No, the readers demand more goddamn Jeff, and they're going to get
it. In the neck.
I've had several people, like 5 or 6 people, send me messages on Facebook like, you could do this in the next chapter. You could do this. And I'm like, I'm writing this shit down because these are good ideas.
Hey, it counts as research.
Yeah.
And basically, you just if there's a line you want to throw in at the beginning, dedicated to.
The best one so far definitely is from Chris, and wow, it's a frightening idea, and it will get used at some point. I just need to figure out
where it fits in.
Yeah.
If you need someone to describe how a Jeff attack feels, I can help you in that department. There's a reason its name stayed Jeff, and then it started as a joke because of your story, and then the fucker attacked me, and the name sticks.
Oh, Foxy, don't worry. My wife watches British football, and you should hear the way she talks back to the screen. Some of those refs should have just burst into flame from what she was saying. And they're 2,000 miles away, and that didn't make any difference. Oh.
Vehement enough in her vindictives that should have carried across the pond and curse their generations, 7 generations hence, or their descendants 7 generations hence.
What really helps me is that in order to avoid costly fees, she watches it on a Spanish-speaking channel. So I can't understand a word of what's going on, but she's in there. She's bilingually shouting at the screen.
Okay, that's probably I had to ask. Is she shouting in English or is she shouting in Spanish? Because I know she speaks both.
And believe me, if I could write like that, I could probably give Firefly a run for its money if I got Thesis to help me with the Chinese. Oh, yeah, that brings up another thought. That's one of the things in the hopefully soon to be issued Tom Darby book. I've been waiting since 2019. I had to use several European languages in that for brief sentences and phrases because that was in character for the narrator character at that time. And I'm going, I hope this doesn't look too stupid. But yeah. Oh, Foxy, it's all right. It doesn't last long.
No.
Started to green room myself again there. Oh God, if this were last night, I'd really cut loose, but no, can't do that. Don't know why I really care. It's not like I'm ever going to get monetized.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I feel.
I'll worry about cleaning up my rants and all that other stuff once YouTube goes, you know what? They're available for AdSense now.
Yeah.
Until then, I don't care.
I don't have enough viewer hours and I don't have enough subscribers to ever qualify.
Same here.
And that's fine with me. Matter of fact, I wonder how many subscribers I do actually have. Haven't checked in a while. 63. Wow. A lot of bored late night people out there. As of the end of the video we're recording right now, it'll be 458 different videos. Coming up on 5,000 views. Doesn't really tell me how many watch hours, but it's all right. Not really that interested. It's not like I need money. I worked a long time. I put savings in the bank. I invested wisely, or as wisely as I can. And I'm doing okay. I mean, I'll never be rich, but.
Of course not. You're Dan. I'm rich.
Probably won't have to apply for food stamps. I do have to figure out what to do with my 401k. They keep telling me I need to roll it over into an IRA, but I've already got an IRA and they won't let me add that to the existing account. So I think I'll just have to pull money out of it every January and then top up my IRA account. I think right now the limit is $8,000 you can add in a year. And
Sounds about right.
yeah, between the pension payment and Social Security, I'm actually getting a larger monthly income than I've ever had in my life. So I feel really grateful about that. It has helped a lot, and sooner or later I'll quit buying stuff and money will start piling up in there. Right now I'm buying power tools like I was a Home Depot myself rather than just a private individual. Oh, I got a pole saw today. So now I can get branches higher than I can reach out of trees that are overhanging parts of the yard. Now I will still call the electric company and have them trim branches away from my power lines because I'm not stupid enough to try and do that myself. Let them take the risk. They know if they break the damn cable, they got to replace it. I do kind of need
You're saying you don't want to have a shocking time.
No. And
I've been tased. I don't really need to know what it feels like to actually be like electrocuted. No, thank you. I'd rather not.
It feels pretty much the same. I have been tangentially struck by lightning 3 times in my life. Not ever directly, just a close strike that I got some of the runoff effect of. And it's not a lot of fun. Let's just put it that way.
I would imagine not.
Yeah, I've had that second kick of 110. The first one's like, whoo, tingly. That's not so bad. I'll continue working like a dumbass. The second one's like, why is what I was doing 2 rooms that way, and I can see through what are supposed to be walls? And why does my back hurt?
Actually, there was one time when Dad and I were working on a car on the carport. Dad's underneath the car. I'm kind of sprawled over the fender holding the flashlight so he can see what he's doing. I'm sure we all know what that's like. And there was a very close lightning strike. Now, I had both feet off of the ground on the fender of the car, just kind of balanced there like a teenage boy naturally would be.
Yeah.
Dad's under the car. Some of the discharge from that lightning strike ran through the ground into my dad and burned a hole in the bottom of his one of his work boots without doing any harm to him. And my hair stood on end and I felt kind of tingly for a while.
Yeah.
But that was about it for me. Another time I had to go off outside during a rainstorm and turn off the sprinklers for the garden. It was one of those sudden onset rainstorms that, hey, we don't need the sprinklers now. Better go outside and turn it off. Had to take an umbrella to keep from getting soaked. And I'm turning the hose off and rack-a-boom. And I'm standing on a wet concrete sidewalk
Oof.
holding an umbrella right next to the house, turning a valve on a copper pipe. Yeah. I got a little bit of a tingle out of that one.
I can imagine, yeah.
I wound up about 6 feet backwards from my previous position, still holding the umbrella, but nothing was on fire.
Richie was terrified of lightning until I was 5. When I was 5, I grew up on a lake. So my mom yelled at my sisters to go down to the boat, pull the plug because it was about ready to rain, because our boat was up on a lift, so that any water that accumulated within the boat would go ahead and run out through that plug.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sitting there on the hill waiting for them to come back up. They get about 6 inches past me and about a foot in front of me. Lightning strike. No shocking or anything like that. Couldn't hear for a little bit after that thunder. But since then, I have just had an innate weird fascination, almost fetish for lightning and electricity.
Mm.
I mean, technically, it's not a fetish because it's not like, lightning and little Richie stands to attention or anything like that. But it's just that I don't know how to explain it other than just a morbid fascination with lightning, electricity, but more lightning specific.
Well, the last one I actually had to call into work. I could not go to work, and thank God it was the last day of a 4-day shift, so I had 4 more days off to recuperate. But was in the house. I was taking a nap on the couch, just dozing, not really sound asleep. And I heard a noise like a sheet ripping. And the next thing I know, there is a resultant thunderclap. And I kind of spasmed a little bit. Turns out it was about maybe 50 yards away. But Thor said, screw that tree and anybody under it. And anybody in close proximity, and I just happened to be close proximity. I wound up with my head kind of locked to one shoulder and could not straighten my neck out for about 3 days.
Oof.
Yeah, because the muscle spasm was just that intense, that fast.
That locked
And
you up.
I pretty much, I don't know whether it was static or just shock, you know, auditory shock, but there was no
How
way
long
I
that
was
gonna
going to
be?
even, there was no way I was going to actually be able to drive a car to get to work. And there's no way I can do my job looking like Quasimodo. So, I called in, I told them, no, I didn't need a doctor. I hope I never needed a doctor, but it's just kind of one of those things. And thankfully, uh, my attendance record was fairly flawless every year at work. Um, Matter of fact, I had a habit of going, well, you know, I'm allowed to call in 3 days a year for no reason whatsoever. Just say I don't want to come in and not get written up for it. So I used up one of those that year, um, but I actually did have a medical reason. When before the 4 day uh, break was over, everything went back to normal, and I was able to actually straighten up my neck rather than have it locked onto one ear pressing on my shoulder blades. Uh, just it was horribly uncomfortable until that muscle spasm wore off. But, it was educational. That's about the best way of putting it. Oh, and Kitty, you're being cruel to Thesis. That's what you get for volunteering to get tased. Well, somebody had to do it. Is it
You
Thesis's?
volunteered for the tasing?
Is it Thesis's fault that he's a brave young man?
Yes.
and
Bravery is the fault of the person who is brave.
and he had no idea how much it was actually going to hurt.
This is true.
What do you mean don't pee on the electric fence? There's nothing going. Oh, you didn't have it on, you son of a.
I had cousins that were always trying to get me to grab hold of an electric fence. I go, hey, it's not on. Just go ahead, touch it. You'll see for yourself. It's not on. And if you did, you found out that electric fences pulse.
Mm-hmm.
They're not always live. And thankfully, that one I found out the easy way because there was a cow in a pasture with an electric fence, and I'm going, no way of knowing whether this thing is on or not. Cow had to go. So she went right across the electric fence.
Mm-hmm.
And suddenly the electric fence gave a pulse. And the cow decided that she was going to try out for a 100-yard dash, screaming her head off.
my cousin, Richie was like 8 or 9 around this time, maybe 10. My uncle had a dairy farm. Cousin's like, "No, come on, it's not going to hurt. It's not going to hurt. It's not going to hurt." He does it. Nothing happens. I do it. He gives the high sign to his friend in the barn, who turns it on. Because it was off when he was doing it.
Mm-hmm.
This is the same cousin who got a cow to kick me in the chest. I don't like that cousin. He's a dick.
Couldn't either.
And not the good way like I am. I mean. But oh yeah, I hope all the children he has play with loud, annoying toys that you can't take the batteries out of.
And I've touched electric fences. We used to see how long we could hold on. Foxy, it's not how long you can hold on. It's how quickly you can let go when that pulse goes through.
And it's where the electricity is flowing into.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of them are not that powerful. It's just your nerves don't know that. And they run on electricity too. If you're being a conductor, it's going to be rather startling when that charge runs through the wire. No matter how short or long it may be, no matter how much time is in between the pulses.
I know you're talking about the pulse, but my brain went somewhere else. Because, like my title says, I'm an incorrigible 12-year-old.
Well, don't matter how long it was to start with, you get shocked by a fence, it's going to shorten up a little bit.
It might end up as an innie for a little bit.
And unless you like that sort of thing, in which case you've got a whole different problem.
Hey, to each their own. We don't kink shame around here. We just kink question.
Ours, I don't think was very strong. Cows used to just walk through it at times. Yeah. I've seen that happen. And I've seen farmers go out and try and repair the fence where a cow's gone through it. And they didn't bother to turn the darn thing off. They just got some welding gloves and tried picking it up and restringing the wire on the little posts. And I'm just looking at them going, yeah, you feel lucky, don't you? Welding gloves are great against heat. They don't insulate against electricity that well, especially in the middle of a field, especially if it's been raining and you're standing there in a puddle trying to restring an electric fence without turning it off first.
And then if it actually hits through the frickin' welding gloves, they're going to be adding to the puddle.
I wouldn't doubt it. Oh. And then the next 5 cows that walk past that particular puddle go, "What have you been eating? This smells funny."
You've been into the asparagus again, haven't you?
Broccoli. Uh, yeah, what is it about asparagus that makes it affect your biochemistry in such a way that any fluids you have to eliminate after eating it smell horrible?
That's exactly it. It's just chemistry.
Pretty much, yeah.
Mm.
I don't know what the exact chemical in asparagus does it. Excuse me while I play the role of John for a moment.
Mm. Oh, you're going to map quest through Berlin? Yeah, chemistry is not my strong suit either, but I understand a little bit of it, just enough to know that if I play around with a chemistry set, I'll do something dangerous eventually.
Asparagusic acid, a compound that breaks down into sulfur-containing byproducts during digestion.
Mm.
So basically, it's kind of like what onions and garlic will do, but I guess on a more concentrated basis.
And since it's
As it
sulfur
releases
compound,
more sulfur, yeah.
since it's sulfur compounds, it will affect solid waste as well as urine. Let's not tell Joe Dog. John's already in enough trouble for making him pickled eggs. Let's not make sure that he gets, asparagus in his banquet dinner.
Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord.
What, did I just introduce you to a new sin?
Just thinking of Donna would kill me.
Yeah.
Find a way to combine the vitamins and chemicals that are in broccoli, asparagus, garlic, onions, pickling compounds, and stuff like that. Find a way to concentrate that and a way to introduce it to Joe Dog like 5 minutes before everyone beats feet for the, to head back to their respective domiciles and just let that percolate in his system on his drive home.
It probably wouldn't take that long. I do believe his digestive system is one of those rapid cycling ones.
Find a way to slip it into his Taco Bell.
Oh, God, he'd never notice. Except it actually tasted like food instead of Taco Bell. there are spices in this. It's supposed to be just, mushy paste. Like one of those store-bought burritos. Yeah, you're familiar with those, aren't you?
I like those.
The packaging looks so good. Unfortunately, what's in the packaging doesn't after you've heated it up.
Doesn't
And
look
I like
good, but it
I
tastes decent and
it
better after you
tastes
add like
it
hot sauce
tastes
to it.
okay. I like those too. I try and not buy them very often. I'll just walk through the freezer aisle and I'll look at the packaging and go, yeah, if it only looked that good when you got through heating it up. Or when it was on your plate and you were cutting it up so that you could take bites of it that didn't set your mouth on fire and not from how much hot sauce you put on it. If it's hot sauce, that's your problem. If it's just off of the just out of the oven or out of the microwave and you still burn your mouth, that's your fault.
And you can't tell from one bite to the next, is this one going to be ice cold or is this one going to be liquid hot magma?
Hey, Introduction to Microwaves 101. I think that's a principle that Baked Alaska works on. It's ice cold in the middle, but it's on fire outside. What was it? Oh, there's a Christmas dessert, a British Christmas dessert that it's basically a single serve fruitcake, but you heat it up, you take it off of the heat source, then you pour brandy over it and set it on fire. And it kind of looks like you're about to be served a can of Sterno. Because you got blue flames climbing off of this thing. And
I think someone tried to pull a Halloween prank on me. This is supposed to be a Christmas dessert. Why does it look like a flaming log of poo?
because it's a very good dessert with some very good brandy on fire poured over it. But yeah, um, I was always unclear as to you know, is it socially acceptable to put the fire out and eat the dessert, or do you have to actually eat it while it's flaming? So far, I've never had to eat flaming desserts. Um, Ooh, that sounds like a good name for a heavy metal band. Uh,
Sounds like a
Flaming
Vegas drag
pudding.
strip show. A super.
Mm. Oh. Now there was a okay cultural crossover here. There was another Christmas dessert that Lindsay introduced me to. It's supposed to have a coin baked into each single person serving. Now, I imagine back in the day, it was a little bit more random than that, and not every person got the piece that had the coin in it. And it didn't necessarily have to be set on fire, but you had to be careful eating it so that you didn't swallow a damn 5 pence or whatever. And you're supposed to save the coin and take a champagne cork from a New Year's bottle of champagne and cut a small slit in the top and shove the coin into it and keep it for good luck. I'm not really sure how that particular thing went, but considering how close Christmas and New Year's are together, maybe it was a New Year's Day dessert. Maybe it was something
Well,
you're
their
supposed to
Christmas
save
is
the damn
also
thing.
over
Yeah.
several days, so I mean, it could have been one of their Christmas days that was closer to New Year's too.
Mm-hmm. Twelfth night, I think. Is oh, that's charging slowly. Well, we'll just leave it running.
Just makes it easier to get out of the way. Oh, wrong kind of charge.
Not dodging that one, are we?
Yeah, some of the old holiday time traditions from our European progenitors can be downright weird.
Yes. Christmas crackers, for example. And that when I say crackers, I do not mean something edible. It's basically a
It's
small it's a small firework
kind of like what
inside
we
a
have
gift
as
box.
lady fingers, which is but it's theirs is about a couple thousand times larger because I mean ladyfingers as an American firework is a little thicker than a toothpick, two strings, you pull it apart.
Mm-mm.
It's a paper wrapped cylinder again, probably a little thicker than this pill bottle. Yeah, I've seen them. I think that's cool. I'm tempted one of these years to actually try to procure some to go ahead and do around the house here.
Most of the ones I've seen, and believe me, my wife is the one shopping for them, but they are about the same size and diameter as the core of a roll of paper towels.
Yeah.
And two people grab opposite ends and tug, sort of like a wishbone, and the little cracker inside pops, and inside is a little paper crown, which is a Christmas tradition,
And
and
usually some type of like candy or something like that too, isn't it?
yeah, and a toy and a little paper with jokes on it.
It's an explosive Cracker Jack.
Pretty much. It's not highly explosive, but
Well, I mean, champagne party popper level of explosive.
mm-hmm.
Get this snap pop level of explosive, something that gives you a good crack. And then also something about whoever has the larger piece is supposed to have good luck or something like that, or they get the
Yeah,
goodies inside or something, or
yeah, yep. Whoever has the larger piece gets to keep the toy, um, and they they usually come in 8-pack to a dozen or more, and the ones with really good toys cost a lot of money.
as you would
But
expect.
well, this is in the U.S. And the weird thing is, the ones with the really expensive stuff inside usually have something to do with golf, which,
Really,
yeah, uh, it's not something that a lot of working stiffs, except for some of the guys that I was with at the factory, partake of as a sport. But somebody once described playing golf as a good walk spoiled by have some physical effort every couple of 100 yards. Uh, and then you got to track down where you hooked the ball to. Um, and somebody actually makes golf balls you can track with your cell phone. It's like, I'm getting warmer. Oh, there it is. I'll take it over here to the actual green and get it out of
the water trap.
no. In Georgia, you don't go in the water traps. There are alligators there. Uh, if ball goes in the water, time to get another ball out of the golf bag. If it goes in the woods, just look for the poison ivy. That's where it's going to be. Good
What
morning, Mike Jimmy.
Gators need love too. They just want a hug.
Yeah, well,
Flip it on its back and give it belly scratches.
I'll let you take care of that, big guy. I see a gator. I just want to turn it into luggage and a fancy belt. Maybe a nice pair of boots, as per Romancing the Stone.
Mm-hmm.
Although gator is tasty eating.
Can be.
Learned about an emotional support gator a few days ago, and my first reaction was only in Florida.
Australia. Oh no, okay, in Australia it'd be an emotional support frog. Never mind. My apologies.
Hey,
Same family, just different cousins.
and if it's in Australia, I don't care if it's too small to kill you. It wants to. It's gonna try. Even if it's harmless, it's gonna try.
Oh Lord.
I'm just going, Australian Aborigines didn't have a problem with this. Europeans got there and they had a problem. It's really weird. Georgia was a debtor's prison colony. Australia was a criminal prison colony. It's amazing how much we are alike, even though. Not something I talk about a lot to folks that do YouTube videos from Australia or New Zealand or whatever. Just kind of go, yeah, well, nobody has to be defined by their ancestry.
Australia is the Florida of the former British Empire.
Extremely lethal and about as huggable. Yeah. Alligators and crocodiles. Yeah.
And New Zealand is like, the rest of the south of the former British Empire.
I kind of think New Zealand was the plantation's overseers mansion and garden. In Australia was y'all just pick the cotton and we'll get back to you. Of course, that's probably way off base, and I'll probably get flamed in comments about that, but I'm a stupid Yank. What do I know? Yeah, somebody asked me one time what I would name a canal boat in England if I got one. If I moved over there and bought a boat to live on. And my best response was, I'd probably have to call it Damn Yankee.
But can it take you high enough?
Hey. Well, my reasoning was that if I called it that, people would kind of have a a clue.
idea of who's on board.
Yeah, they kind of have a clue as to whether or not they're going to be able to understand my atrocious American accent. Mike, Jimmy, how is your lovely wife and your equally lovely daughter? She's got to be growing like a weed. The daughter, excuse me. Although I get this feeling Luz is like 5'4" or thereabouts, and just absolutely gorgeous, just like Mike Jimmy seems to be absolutely gorgeous, who are female acquaintances here. Doing good. Managed to get a bit of time off this week for all of us, and we're going to a hotel for a night today. Oh, well, that's excellent. Everybody deserves a little holiday. We'll be going to a hotel in the middle of the week. Well, a lot of us will be. Still haven't set up a GoFundMe to get Thesis and Foxy to be able to join us, but
it's about the only way it's going to happen, too.
Well, we just have to plan ahead. Pick a year. Hey, I've seen stranger things happen, so.
Yeah.
Just gonna take off a bit together and manage to get this deal for only 30 euros for 2 people in a 4-star hotel. That's good. That sounds like an excellent deal right there. I could probably use a deal like that, except that it would cost me $2,000 to get there.
Yeah.
And another $2,000 to get back. Airline ticket prices are ridiculous.
Yes, they are.
Oh, okay. It was a surprise where we end up, and we were hoping the southernmost part of the Netherlands. Sadly, we ended up a bit more north. Still a beautiful place. Well, have fun. I mean, seriously. That's what life is all about. If you're not having fun, you're not doing it right.
That's that hotel roulette thing you were talking about last time we had you live.
I'd really like to go to, I think it's in Wales, Port Myron, the place where they filmed The Prisoner, the village. It's a lot of buildings done with forced perspective, and it's absolutely manicured and just gorgeous as all get out. It's got its own little microclimate where it's nice there, even when it's horrible other places in the country. Let's see if we could only choose which area of the Netherlands you wanted to go to, but with 12 provinces, it's still technically in the southeast. Well, Mike, Jimmy, if you had to undertake the drive that I'm going to have to next week to go to Hallowcon, if you drove for 3 hours in one direction, you'd probably wind up in the middle of an ocean somewhere. And Richie is going to have to drive even further. Hell.
So starting soon, I've got to show back up in the office twice a month. There's the possibility that just one leg of my commute will be roughly 3 hours.
And if Thesis and Foxy had to drive to get to Hallowcon, it'd take them about 2.5 days.
Ish.
Yeah, well, that's if you don't have to pay any attention to speed limits along the way. Just flow along with traffic. Pretend you're a state patrol officer. Germany, oh my God. Probably Germany or my mother-in-law's place, depending on traffic. Well, the difference would be if you were driving east-west or north-to-south. Oh. If you're driving north, you might wind up in a fjord, which is not a brand of automobile. Thank you.
Takes between 13 and 15 hours, depending on traffic and stopping for food and gas, to get from here to her parents' house in Missouri. So,
yeah, and with that length of a drive, better count on a Motel 6 somewhere along the way for
I think you pronounced Missouri wrong.
No, I didn't.
Ooh.
I could pronounce it the other way, but I might offend some people from that area.
Oh,
Hell?
Misery.
Oh, and a dad joke from Kiri. There's a guy I hate and whose mother is a mathematician. A real sum of a bitch.
But you need 2 points to get a sum. You need something to add to it. It'd have to be a...
I think he went off on a tangent.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm not going to co-sign on that one.
I see the angle you're going for.
I think I'm going to subtract myself from this conversation.
We might need to circle back on this. Get everything squared up.
Oh. Why is it that math is so easy to make jokes about it, but everybody hates having to do it, except a few people that go, "Ooh, this is fun." Hey, Gary. You could have started off with the high and then went to the dad joke. It's not
This
like
is
Joe
Gary.
Dog.
Did you expect anything else?
I know he didn't come here looking for Joe Dog because it's too late at night for Joe Dog to be awake. And if he's awake at this time of night at Hallowcon, it's probably because he's double checking everything everybody else is doing. And
Making a list. Checking it twice.
Well, I should have prefaced that with unnecessarily checking up on what everybody else is doing, because it's not like he could do it better. Where would the fun be in that? Oh, Kiri. There's fun, and then there's fun. And neither one of those are meant in the adult entertainment sense. Oh, wow. We've only got about 14 minutes left, gentlemen. And that's if we want to end it on the money. But, don't want to hear any complaints about the Sunday morning viewers or oh, English is a fine language, Daniel. Learn how to use it.
Oh, why? English isn't a language, it's a...
How long before he realizes he's frozen?
He already realizes he's frozen. He's been dealing with this all night.
Well, for me, whenever I freeze, I'm talking on for like another 3 minutes, and suddenly I'm like, damn it. Nobody's moving. It's me. Ah, well, reboot.
Nope, this is not a reboot. It's the internet out there. It's wintertime and it's windy, and the antenna that Thesis and Foxy use for internet seems to be trying to become a windmill. So every once in a while,
it's a radio signal instead of like fiber optic underground, so it sometimes gets interference from just the dumbest shit.
One of the next door neighbors is out there with his Corvette trying to retime the distributor.
If one of my neighbors has a Corvette, it would not be long for this apartment complex. Somebody would take off with it.
Hey. Oh, Kiri, that's not kind. Oh. Considering how much work I did today, I don't hurt near enough. I should be just absolutely moaning in pain, but feel pretty good. So I'll take that. One thing I do have to get done tomorrow, I have to go ahead and fasten down the last sheet of tin over the barbecue grill pergola. Because I've got one just kind of sitting there, not fastened down whatsoever. I wanted to wait until I had time to get out there and do, put a coat of paint on the the treated lumber and whatnot, but I do not know if I'm going to have time to play around with that. There's going to be too much stuff that has to get done between tomorrow and Wednesday. So, time to pull my thumb out. And prioritize what has to be done, what would be nice to be done, and what I can actually get done.
2 more working days before vacation.
Well, those are 3 different sets of numbers, so we'll see what gets accomplished versus what I should have accomplished. But there are things that would be nice to get done that there ain't enough damn time in the world. Not on this schedule. On the other hand, I followed a YouTube video and made a pair of anti-wasp hornet and yellow jacket, not traps, but defenses that seem to have worked really, really well. There were 2 places where we knew we had yellow jackets, and Lindsay and I both got stung. And unfortunately, Lindsay's allergic. But fortunately, these were very, very, very tiny yellow jackets, so she didn't get that much venom, so that we had to take her to an emergency room. I keep telling her I'm going to have to buy some EpiPens just in case. And she won't hear of it because it's too expensive. And I'm just going to have to go, I don't care. It's going to...
Well, when Misty tries that, I'm like, a couple of EpiPens is a hell of a lot cheaper than a few.
Yeah. I'm going to have to try that line and see how she reacts.
Or, if you don't want to go that dark that fast, or an emergency room visit.
Or both. Curie. My bike stopped working the other day. Found out it was too tired. You'll be lucky if you don't get about 3 dozen ads for e-bikes tomorrow, Kiri. You'll never be too tired when you've got an electric motor to do all the work. I drove by one place today that had one of those little miniature trucks out front for sale. I'm going, that can't be street legal. It's too tiny. It doesn't have rear mirrors. It doesn't have turn signals. It doesn't. No, you can't put a license plate on that sucker. You can't put insurance on it and drive it down the street. Probably only does about 20 miles an hour flat out. And I'm going, well, there's a fuck of a lot of people that drive golf carts around here.
But with it being that tiny, it probably also gets like 700 miles per gallon.
It's probably electric at that.
It's powered by vinegar and baking soda.
Could be.
Like those little itty bitty submarines that used to come in like cereal and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. And you put an aspirin in the conning tower and sealed it up, and it would bob up and down.
Ours was actually baking soda and vinegar.
Well,
You'd put the vinegar in one spot, the baking soda in another, and then they would go down, and then the gases would cause it to rise up, and then it would hit the top, it would expel all the gas, and then it would sink back down, and then
yeah, that's one of my old family recipes for bee stings is make a paste of baking soda and vinegar and apply it to the sting, and never really figured out exactly how it works, but I think it is that the reaction between the two neutralizes the formic acid from the bee sting. So,
probably, but in the constant fizzing, if it gets a hold of any of the stinger, might help to start pulling that stinger out too.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, with instances where the stinger gets left behind instead of instances where that particular insect does not ever lose the stinger. They just kind of crawl across you and hit you several dozen times in rapid succession.
Yeah, that's not right.
Hey, this is where I'm going. EpiPens, honey. It'll keep you alive till I can get you to the emergency room.
Exactly.
We'll just have to burn that bridge when we cross it. On the other hand, she did have a visit to a chiropractor, which, after the initial adjustment to her neck, she had an enormously improved range of motion in the one arm with the bursitis. And they're checking out the x-rays now to tell her if there's anything wrong with the her lower back, and not just what she knows is wrong with her neck and her shoulder. This one helped her neck and shoulder tremendously, but because of the car wreck in 2007, they're seriously worried about damage that was not diagnosed back then that is now rearing its ugly head. Well, excuse me for just a second, but Dawn, where are you when we need you? It's that time, folks. Thank you for being here, Richie. Thank you for being here, Thesis, even though you're not with us at the moment. Thank you to everybody that is watching, has been watching live, or will watch on the replay later on. Really do appreciate it. I'd say the usual like, share, and subscribe, but that's a moot point. Just enjoy yourselves and comment.
If you feel so moved, hit the buttons. If not, we're glad to have you here anyway.
Yeah, really.
We're not here for you to hit the buttons. We're here for you to enjoy the conversation and maybe join in.
That would be exceptional. And we're always glad to have somebody else contribute and even join the show. But right now, go good, guys. Good night, Richie. Good night, Thesis. Good night, everybody in the audience.
Good night, Mr. and Mrs. McGillicuddy and all the ships at sea.
Oh, I was trying to remember that, but I couldn't say it right. It's been a long time. Yep. We'll see y'all next time.
Transmission overload.
System will shut down. System will shut down. System will shut down.